I'm devastated. I'm devastated because I can tell you with all absolute certainty that my Democratic colleagues have just hurt all of Texas. I have no plans of returning because I went through an entire session dealing with my colleagues. And every time you would try to just make a logical argument or have a logical conversation, we couldn't get that done.
Hi again, everyone. It's 5 o'clock in the East. After fleeing to Washington, D.C. for weeks and risking arrest after halting the Texas governor's special legislative sessions for 38 days, some Texas Democrats are today, as you saw there, devastated. Because last night, 3 of their colleagues returned to the House floor, delivering the legislative body a quorum, where now state Republicans can proceed to pass the restrictive voting bill the Democrats had tried so hard to prevent. On July 12th, more than 50 Texas Democrats left their homes, flew to the nation's capital, and lobbied Democrats in Washington to pass federal legislation that would protect the right to vote in Texas, as well as all across this country. For them, the bill presented by their GOP colleagues was not something to take lightly. To them, democracy was on the line. The bill takes aim at practices like 24-hour and drive-through voting, initiatives implemented last year in Harris County. Harris County is Texas's largest county and one that leans heavily Democratic. Those initiatives led to the state's record voter turnout in the 2020 election. In a statement explaining their decision, the 3 Democrats who returned to the House floor last night acknowledged the work their party had done, but cited a need to also fight the pandemic raging in their state now. Quote, "We are proud of the heroic work and commitment we and our fellow Democratic caucus members have shown in breaking quorum in May and again over the summer. We took the fight for voting rights to D.C. and brought national attention to the partisan push in our state to weaken ballot access. Our efforts were successful, and they served as the primary catalyst to push Congress to take action on federal voting protection legislation. Now, we continue the fight on the House floor. It is time to move past these partisan legislative calls and to come together to help our state mitigate the effects of the current COVID-19 surge." About last night's development, the AP writes this, quote, "It leaves Democrats much in the same position as when the holdout started, unable to permanently stop the GOP-controlled legislature from putting new limits and rules over how more than 16 million registered voters can cast a ballot. And federal voting rights protections that Texas Democrats lobbied for while in Washington still face long odds of getting around GOP opposition in Congress. Despite those long odds, calls for the passage of federal legislation persist. Last night, former Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke tweeted this, quote, "I'm proud of the Texas House Democrats. They've done more than we ever could have asked to stop voter suppression and give Congress time to act. It is now time for the president and the Senate to finish the job, pass the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. The end of Texas's second longest quorum break in its history and the ongoing fight for voting rights is where we start this hour with some of our favorite reporters and friends. The Reverend Al Sharpton is here, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation and president of the National Action Network. Also joining us, Aaron Haynes, editor-at-large of the 19th and an MSNBC contributor, and Texas State Representative Ron Reynolds is here. Representative Reynolds, let me start with you. How's it going, and how do you feel about everything that you and your colleagues have been through over the last, I guess it's 2.5 months?
Well, Nicole, it's great to be on your show. I share the frustration articulated by Representative Crockett, my colleague, that we're extremely disappointed. We haven't finished what we started. We have a lot of momentum at our back. I want to thank Reverend Sharpton. He was with us in D.C. We've been rallying. We're going to continue to rally and lead up through the March on Washington on August the 28th. I'm going to be there with Rev. So we haven't finished what we started. I'm disappointed. We had the momentum. There was no reason for us to go back. I'm going to be in D.C. For the as House brings forth H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. And we know that we have the votes in the House, and we believe that it's going to pass on Tuesday. But the real fight is going to be in the Senate. And that's why we need Democrats to hold out, to continue to fight for democracy. So I share that frustration. We're down, but we're not out. We're going to continue to press forward, and we're going to get this federal legislation passed.
I mean, Rev, some of the calculation had to be that no one could have imagined that for all that, frankly, Democrats got done, voting rights wasn't going to be on the list. If it had been dealt with before any break, they might have gone home more victorious.
I think that, first of all, we must congratulate those Texas Democrats that really heightened the awareness of the nation of how abusive and in many ways, I think, illegal on a strictly federal level, this whole Texas move is. When you deal with the fact that on a federal level, until 2013, they could not have even gotten this through pre-clearance at the Justice Department. And that is with the John Lewis bill that Representative Reynolds referred to that will pass the House this week, will restore. And that is why it's important that we march next Saturday. And Reynolds is not only attending the march, he and the Texas Democrats that held out is going to lead the march with Martin Luther King III and I. The Senate must pass this. The president must speak to it again like he did in Philly. We're talking about the basic right to vote. Can you believe that at a time that we're talking about democracy in Afghanistan, that we are allowing states to go back into states' rights in terms of voting in the United States? This is as fundamental as it can get. And the heroes of this movement, like we give heroes of the 60s when I was a kid and some unborn, the heroes of this movement has to say those Texas Democrats that stood and did not waver. You know, in the church we have a scripture that says the race isn't given to the swift or the strong, but those that hold out to the end. We're going to be honoring the holdouts because they're the stand-ups for democracy.